to address global warming issues, literacy programs, and microfinance programs, just to name a few broad areas. Now, there's one group of Rotarians that I want to refer to in this regard for the outstanding work that they have been doing on the African continent. These are the Rotarian Action Groups, RAGs for short. Now, since their inception, RAGs have proved to be an extremely dependable vehicle for the channeling of various Rotary programs and projects in Africa. One notable Rotarian Action Group, which I want to mention specifically because I belong to it, this is Rotarians for Fighting AIDS, RIFA. I can see there are quite a few members of RIFA in the room. The African continent has been one of the most afflicted parts of the world by the AIDS pandemic. I'm sure everybody knows that. Now, RIFA has been working quietly but relentlessly in Africa, in conjunction with cooperating partners to fight the effects of HIV/AIDS. During the last 5 years, for instance, RIFA, working with various Rotary clubs in 7 African countries, was able to provide care, support, and education to 122,000 orphans and vulnerable children in Africa. RIFA mobilized a total of approximately $10 million United States dollars from the US government under the PEPFAR funds, and also from the Coca-Cola Africa Foundation and individual Rotary clubs in the United States to finance this huge humanitarian operation. In my own country, Zambia, last year, RIFA completely rehabilitated a school for orphaned and vulnerable children at a cost of 32,000 United States dollars, funded by Coca-Cola, the Rotary Foundation, and Rotary clubs in the USA. The list goes on and on and on. Let me come to more recent times. In the past few weeks, in the past few months, in the past few years, we have seen many events in Africa. Natural disasters, political violence and struggles for democracy, etc. For many people in Africa, the light at the end of a tunnel is not a star. It is a rotary wheel. Rotary's role in Africa is not political. It is practical, and it is humanitarian. Rotary does not seek to change regimes. We seek to change lives. In the words of past RI President Matt Kaparas, whom you saw on stage yesterday, Rotary brings hope. Rotary brings hope to people who have lost so much in terms of homes, livelihoods, and even families. Rotary is trusted in Africa by governments, by heads of state, by organizations, and by individuals throughout Africa, and the world over for that matter. The Rotary wheel, anywhere in Africa, is a symbol of hope. Rotary restores dignity by making it possible for those who are physically challenged to be mobile, by giving them a wheelchair, then providing access to shops, to schools, by encouraging municipalities to build ramps instead of stairs. Rotary encourages children to go to school by providing water wells and proper toilet facilities so that children are not forced to seek water from water sources that are either polluted or endangered by predators. And I'm referring to both four-legged as well as two-legged predators who would seek to do harm to them. Rotary literally builds bridges to communities, to bring communities together, farmers to markets, and children to school. While African nations are struggling politically, Rotary is steadily progressing towards our goal of building communities and building continents. We have already begun. We have already begun to reach within ourselves and embrace humanity. So President Kalian has told us. By touching the lives of every facet of our society, from the youngest to the oldest, from the strongest to the most feeble, from the city dweller to the most remote villager. In Africa, we talk about being sons and daughters of the soil. It is vitally important to remember that in Africa, we have many types and colors of soil. We have dark, rich earth soil, we have hard red clay, and we have fine, pale sand. I want to tell you that all of this soil is required to build a rich society. Remove any of this soil, and we cannot exist. We have many types and colors of people on the African continent. Our distinctive feature is that all of us are Africans. All of us are Africans, from the darkest to the lightest. And all of us are necessary for building a strong African society. Remove any of us, and our hopes of building a strong African society will be seriously diluted. In the times ahead, there can be no doubt that Africa will continue to be the focus of a great deal of international humanitarian service. As we move on into the 21st century, I want to implore our cooperating partners to understand that we Africans are reliable. We Africans are energetic. We Africans are trustworthy. And there is no better place for our Rotary partners to put their faith and money than in Africa. In the face of Africa's immense challenges on the one hand, and given the vast resources on the continent, coupled with the stout generosity of our cooperating partners on the other hand, it is my very strong belief that Africa is too rich to be poor. Africa is too rich to be poor. All we need is the key to unlock Africa's potential. So let me conclude my remarks this morning by remembering the words that I first heard when I joined Rotary back in 1985. In 1985, Pastor I President Ed Cardman told Rotarians that you are the key. Now let me remind my fellow Rotarians from Africa, and I'm aware there must be at least 1,000 of us here at this convention. I want to conclude by reminding my fellow Africans that you, and me will always be the key to fighting the immense challenges of Africa and to unlock Africa's potential. I thank you very sincerely.